chills. Just saying. So with this film, Daniel Craig has got a lot of awards attention. He got a Golden Globe nomination. He won Best Actor at the National Board of Review, I think it was. And he's getting some Oscar buzz. So that was the thing that made me the most interested in seeing it. And I can say he was really good in the film. It was really good seeing him play a different type of character than he usually plays. I mean, we're all used to him as James Bond by now, so that can kind of put him into a certain kind of box acting-wise. But with this film, he's the complete polar opposite of James Bond in every single way. He seduces guys instead of women. And his character is not the most suave individual in the world. He's not the most well-dressed person. He's also a pathetic drug addict. He was really good in the film, and I'm just loving watching Daniel Craig flexing his acting muscles post-James Bond. And if this film makes Daniel Craig an Academy Award nominated actor, then this film will be somewhat worthwhile. I say somewhat worthwhile because I didn't really like the film that much. The biggest issue with the film for me is that I just didn't get invested in the central romance between Daniel Craig and this young guy. It's clearly Daniel Craig's character is a lot more infatuated with the young guy than the young guy is with him. And perhaps you could say that's why the romance felt hollow, because the young guy does not return the affections that Daniel Craig gives to him. But that still just makes it not that interesting of a relationship or a situationship to watch on screen. They meet in Mexico. Daniel Craig tries to seduce the guy, fails a little bit, takes a bit of time, but finally does it. And then they're just kind of sitting around, meandering for a little bit, they're talking a bit, and then they decide to travel the world together, and Daniel Craig gets really sick because of drugs. The characters and what they're doing on screen, I was not entertained by, I was not invested in, I was not compelled by. So for the first 2 acts, I was just kind of shrugging at the film. It was a romance that just wasn't really doing much for me. But then the third act came, and that's where the film completely became something else. The third act of Queer veers off into this completely random direction, with Daniel Craig and the young guy going into the jungle to find this plant that supposedly grants you telepathy. Yeah, I'm not making that up. Telepathy. And if that story direction on its own wasn't completely out of the blue, the completely bewildering, bizarre imagery that happens when they take the plant is. And there were a couple of times where this weird hypnotic imagery is happening, and I'm just like, what am I watching right now? This has become quite a bothersome thing for me lately, where films have these really weird, trippy, hypnotic visuals and imagery and having no concise point and purpose behind it. And it just comes across as feeling a bit up its own ass and a bit pretentious when it's just doing all this really weird shit. And you're just like, why? Why do you need to convey what you're trying to convey by having Daniel Craig and the guy's bodies like mold together with this really weird music behind it, and just they're all slow motion, and I just didn't like it. Again, Act 1 and Act 2 was a well-made and well-acted but disappointing and hollow romance film, and Act 3 was just a bewildering question mark.